The 2023 season is approaching, so today I'm going to be going over my last divisional predictions with the AFC North for this upcoming season. In my recent poll, the Bengals ended up getting the most first place votes, followed by the Ravens, and then the Steelers and Browns tied. These rankings are going to be based on last season, the offseason moves, which include the draft and free agency, and the schedule for this season. Remember, these are just my predictions, so if yours are any different, just let me know down in the comments below and enjoy. The AFC North's a very tough division to predict. I really don't think there's any bad teams in this division compared to others. So if I picked your team to come in last or fourth place in this, it is not because I think they're a bad team. It's just they play in the AFC North. And there's probably going to be 3 playoff teams in this division, potentially. And I really don't think there's a clear-cut winner either. This was a tough video to make because of this, but at the end of the day, only one team can win, and someone does have to take fourth. So, coming in fourth place, I have the Cleveland Browns. I know the Browns on paper are a good team, but once again, this division has 4 good teams. The Browns are coming off of a strange season where they didn't have their $250 million quarterback for 11 games last year. This resulted in Jacoby Brissett at the helm for majority of the season, which isn't a great scenario for a team. He played decently well in his starting time, and when Deshaun Watson came in, he did not look like his old self. Which, that is understandable, as he did take, almost 2 years off of football for obvious reasons. The Browns finished 7-10 last year, which had them at 4th place in the AFC North. They were 4-7 before Watson played a snap, and they were 3-3 with him at quarterback. It's tough to judge his play last season, as it was going to be tough for him to just walk in there and be 2019 Watson again. I expect a much better season from him, as he will have an entire offseason under his belt with this team, and he's not going to have any legal issues this summer as well, distracting him. Probably. I'm actually a big fan of this roster. The offensive weapons are led by Nick Chubb, who's probably the best running back in the league. They also have Amari Cooper at wide receiver, who's actually coming off a pretty good season and an underrated season. Not many people were talking about Amari Cooper last season. The offensive line's elite as well. The defense does have some stars in Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, and Denzel Ward. I'm still somewhat iffy on Stefanski at head coach, however. Now, after I told you how much I like their roster, I still have them coming in last in the AFC North. It's just too competitive of a division, and I just like the other teams more than them. I had the Browns winning about 7-9 games this season. Coming in third place in the AFC North, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that Steelers fans are insanely high on their team and Kenny Pickett, but he is the worst quarterback in this division, and it's difficult to win a division with that disadvantage. Now, I know he's young, and it's really not fair. Pretty much any rookie or second-year guy would be the worst quarterback in this division just because of the high-caliber quarterbacks in it, but still a disadvantage. However, they do have the best coach and a pretty good surrounding roster to make up for some of Pickett's mistakes. The Steelers once again finished above 500 last year, going 9-8. The team had a pretty good draft as well. I know a lot of people are saying it was the best. I don't know if it was the best, but it was definitely pretty good. They drafted Broderick Jones in the first round at 14th overall, who can most certainly win the starting job in training camp, and Joey Porter Jr. in the beginning of the second round, who's going to be day 1 starter for them due to their thin cornerback room. They did add Isaac Seumalo in free agency, who's going to be day 1 starter for them at left guard. As an Eagles fan, I can say this is a pretty good move for them as he instantly becomes their best lineman. This offense is pretty good with Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, and George Pickens, and Pat Freiermuth. Their defense has some studs on it too, with perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate TJ Watt. They have an aging Cameron Hayward who's still producing, Alex Highsmith who actually just got paid and extended, and Minkah Fitzpatrick. All of those guys should be expected to make the Pro Bowl every single season. The defense should definitely be top 10 this year, and the offense can hope to be just outside of that, around the middle of the pack. I'd say is successful for them. Overall, them coming in third has a lot to do with Kenny Pickett. He was a rookie last year, and I'm not going to drag on him too much, as he obviously wasn't going to come in and just win MVP in his first year, but he also wasn't great in his first 12 starts. I do expect him to improve, however. I just can't base a prediction on this assumption that he's going to get a lot better. Even if he improves, this will still put him in the 15 to 20 range for starting quarterbacks, and it's hard to win this division with that quarterback play, especially when you have Lamar and Joe Burrow in it. After looking at their schedule, I've them winning about 8 to 10 games this season. Coming in second place, I had the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens last year finished 10-7, taking second in the division. Last year was a really strange season with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. When Jackson was the starting quarterback, the team had a record of 8-4, which is pretty good, and they were in the running to win the AFC North. Once Lamar got hurt, Tyler Huntley checked in and went 2-2. Even Anthony Brown got a start at QB with a loss. The Ravens nearly beat the Bengals in the playoffs if it wasn't for a goal line fumble loss, but we're on to 2023. The Ravens, after signing Lamar to the largest contract ever this offseason, invested further into him by upgrading the wide receiver room, by bringing in Odell Beckham Jr., which I'm really excited to see how that works out, as we haven't seen Odell since the Super Bowl when he tore his ACL. And they drafted Zay Flowers in the first round of this year's draft. They will go alongside Rashad Bateman, Duvernay, and even Nelson Aguilar, who I did not know was on the Ravens. Their O-line is pretty good, and they have a top 3 tight end in Mark Andrews. Their running back room depends a lot on health, with their first-string running back being J.K. Dobbins. Their defense is decent. The line is alright, but they have one of the best linebackers in the game in Roquan Smith. Their secondary is good as well, with Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton, and Marlon Humphrey. Overall, I really like this roster a lot, and especially like their head coach John Harbaugh leading them. This team can certainly win this division if Lamar can stay healthy. These highlights that I have up with Lamar in them are just so sick to watch, and I cannot wait to watch these divisional AFC games this year. Also, this is one of the only times I have and will ever mention a kicker when doing these type of videos. Justin Tucker can steal you 2 to 3 games a season potentially if you do get him within 66 yards apparently. Looking at the Ravens schedule, I've them winning about 10 to 12 games this season. Finally, coming in first place in the AFC North this year, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. I think this is pretty unanimous across NFL discourse. The Bengals have pretty much every box checked when it comes to great NFL teams. They got the defense, they got the QB, they got the weapons, and they got the coach. They even have great special teams. This team went 12-4 last season, winning the North and ultimately losing in the AFC Championship game on an iffy call to the Chiefs in the Arrowhead. I expect this team to have a similar year, perhaps even win more games. This team added Orlando Brown and Irv Smith Jr. to the offense this offseason, which are 2 great moves. The offense as a whole is pretty stacked. I'd say at least top 5 in the league. I think that's pretty unanimous as well. The weapons include Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and now Irv Smith. Their defense is decent, which is led by Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson, which is one of the best duos in the league as well on the defensive line. I actually like their head coach Zach Taylor, and their special teams is also very good. Overall, this team's almost guaranteed to make the playoffs, barring any Joe Burrow injury. After looking at their schedule, I've been winning about 11 to 13 games this season. So those are my AFC North predictions for this season that's coming up. I have the Browns in 4th, the Steelers in 3rd, the Ravens in 2nd, and the Cincinnati Bengals winning it. This is very similar to last year, although I do expect the first place race to be closer, as I don't think Lamar's going to get injured again. If he's healthy, they could very well give the Bengals a run for their money. But once again, I can't wait to watch this division. It's one of the most exciting divisions to watch every single year, no matter how bad they are. It's always competitive. I can't wait for the primetime games for this. Let me know your rankings down below in the comments and who you think ends up winning. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.